Hi, I'm your goddess Nesca, here with Trucker Man. We're reacting to...
I watched this Count Dangler video on a luchadora that actually was a priest that was actually wrestling to pay for an orphanage.
You need to know how to use... Nice one, Loco. Nice one.
But yeah, apparently in Mexico back in the mid '80s, there was a priest, an actual man of the cloth, who did luchadora, like the wrestling down there, to help pay for an orphanage.
This is a real life version of the story Nacho Libre that Jack Black's in.
Yeah.
I did not know that was based on a true story, apparently.
The Kai has ended. Triple H has really come in clutch to give me a single reason to keep my Netflix subscription. And therefore, I've been getting really into professional wrestling lately. Especially enjoyed the high-flying start to Penta's run and watching...
Like the live or just...
Yeah, it's live on Netflix.
Oh, maybe I'll get back into WWE then. Even though all the good wrestlers are gone.
Rey Mysterio's in it.
Is that Rey Mysterio, though?
Here, I'll back it up because I'll let you hear this.
And therefore, I've been getting really into professional wrestling lately. Especially enjoyed the high-flying start to Penta's run and watching Rey Mysterio beating the absolute crap out of his deadbeat son, Dominic. So I started to take an interest in luchadors, and you know me, I can't take an interest in anything without trying to make a buck out of it. So here is a video about a Mexican priest who turned to the colourful, brutal and acrobatic world of lucha libre to raise enough money to sustain his orphanage. And if that sounds like the plot of a feel-good movie,
yes, it is.
That's because it is. But it's also a true story.
Cool.
Fray Tormenta.
Cool. I had no idea that was a true story. Flying. Holy cow!
Good uplift there for the
Yay!
Please leave a like and a comment on this video because it really helps me in the algorithm. Hello, today's sponsor is me, because I've got a Patreon that I don't shout out enough, and if you get one of the nice tiers, you can get your name mentioned at the end of each video, and if you get one of the really, really good tiers, you just get told what videos are coming out that month.
Dude, I really want to learn how to do memberships and stuff. Something I really would like to do because I'm an artist. Artist.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is an option, but I would like to be able to send like maybe a pin or a keychain once a month for memberships.
Oh, yeah.
I would really much like to do that because I'm working on learning how to do enamel pins and keychains. And I like to draw and stuff and doot. So that would be really cool if I could do that. Because I would very much like to give physical items, not just emojis and all that stuff for memberships.
That's something we can look into, but...
I wonder if that's a thing.
Also, people who subscribe to the Subscribe Star also get the same perks. I also have a second channel that a lot of people still haven't subscribed to, where I cover mostly political and news type content, primarily focusing around free speech and authoritarianism. I've got a bunch of other links to other socials down below, and also I'm now on Instagram.
Yay.
I know, but
Instagram.
hey ho, it's fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, go and subscribe to all of that stuff. Go and subscribe to the Patreon. Give me a great big kiss on...
Oh yeah, did I mention we made it to 17?
Yeah, we're at 1,700 subscribers.
Yay, on YouTube. Our kick in Twitch is very abysmal.
It's given.
the lips and enjoy the video. So, Huyaka is Fray Tormenta. Born on the 5th of February 1945, Sergio Gutierrez Benitez was one of the youngest of 18 children, because fucking Catholics, living in San Agustin, Mexiquitilian, I don't care whatever that word is, get a real fucking language. But anyway...
Dude, how many siblings did your mom and dad have?
Just two.
Just two?
Just me and my brother.
My mom. Okay, my dad was an only child, but my mom, she had 6 other siblings in her household.
Dude, I knew someone around our farm. Someone who lived around us. They had 12 kids.
Damn. And they go breeding a lot.
As you can imagine, his father, making charcoal from burned wood and travelling far and wide to sell it, did not stave off poverty. And things only got worse when the family had to move to a slum named Tres Estrellas in Mexico City, after Sergio's uncles were murdered.
Oh.
Because that's just a thing that happens in Mexico. By the age of 11, little Sergio was in a gang, drinking and addicted to basically everything. Sergio said, "In this country, drugs have always been very present. I did everything. Marijuana and cocaine every day, even mushrooms from time to time. A little after that, I started heroin. And you wouldn't be at all surprised to know that all of this was funded by petty crime. As the boy grew into manhood, he had, and I quote, already become a criminal and a thief. I even worked as an actor and clown in a circus."
That is really... He also worked in a circus.
Yeah.
Wait, so he was a criminal, but he had a job.
Even then, I probably couldn't sustain that. Drugs aren't cheap.
Good point. So, yeah, that was so bad.
But I spent everything on my doses, and I needed more. So I started stealing. As strange as the clown work sounds, that does involve a lot of physical performance that might come in very handy later on.
Oh.
With such a bad...
Clowning can equivalent to thievery.
Try it later on.
Gaba?
Luchadora.
Gaba. Oh, okay.
You missed the whole premise of the video, didn't you?
Oh.
Background and hostile environment, it's no wonder that when Sergio wasn't strung out, he grew up fighting, collecting almost 70 scars from beatings, stabbings, and even a bullet wound. And he still has a droop in his left eyelid after a drunk hit him with a bottle. As it always does, the lifestyle caught up with Sergio as he entered his 20s, and a friend in his gang was actually murdered with Sergio as the main suspect. It feels wrong.
So he become a scapegoat.
Kind of, yeah.
Yo. So yeah, finally hitting your 20s, you realize, yeah, this way of life is not good for me anymore.
To say that he made a lucky escape, however, because the alibi that exonerated him was him being drunk in a bar at the time of the murder. Nevertheless, it made for a hell of a wake-up call, and a 22-year-old Sergio walked into a church for confession. He was then told, "This isn't a rehab centre," and he was turned away.
That's blasphemous! Churches don't turn away people!
Let him explain.
Kai.
Obviously, that's one of the very last things that you should hear from a man of the cloth. But at least Sergio actually followed his advice. He spent a week in rehab, which consisted of spending the whole time strapped to a bed, agonizingly sweating all of that shit out of his body, while screaming and tripping balls.
I wish I took the time to ask my dad what rehab was like for him. Did you know he went to rehab?
When?
Again, before I met you, he was very addicted to pain pills, and he decided to get help and went to rehab for that. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
And after the detox was over, he was warned, here you don't get cured. You get detoxed. Curing... you have to do for yourself.
Your own willpower.
And to do that, Sergio had to get the fuck out of Tres Estrellas, lest he fall to temptation. Because, and I quote, as a drug addict, you know where the drugs are. You know who has the drugs. It's like crap, it's like excrement. You smell it. But where did Sergio go? Well, he was still a bit sore from his rejection at the church, which gave him an epiphany when he thought to himself, if there were cool priests, a lot of us would change. So he decided to become a cool priest. So he headed to seminary in Toluca. Within a week, he was kicked out for punching another seminarian in the face. So he enrolled elsewhere and managed to keep his shit together long enough to study theology in Roman Spain for a few years before returning to Mexico. Not yet ordained, Sergio was a minister in Veracruz, sent to pray the rosary in a parish that was...
So he actually dove deep into it. Like, he didn't just pretend to be a priest or anything. He actually went through all the training and stuff for it.
Yeah.
That's good.
a complete shithole, even by the standards of Mexican poverty. Once he was done, he left to find that the local junkies, whores and delinquents that he had been sent to pray for had filled his car with sand, saying,
What?
"We don't want clergy around here, get the hell out of here."
Oh, thank goodness it was only sand.
Yeah.
That could have been a lot worse. They could have set his car on fire.
Yeah, they were being nice.
Yeah. Oh.
But while Sergio had managed to behave up to this point, old habits continued to die hard. And Sergio offered to fight for the degenerates' respect. He crossed himself, said, "Forgive me, father," got some licks in, and then took an absolute beating like a champ, before asking them,
Dude. Thorfinn.
Thorfinn.
Vinland Saga where, yes.
My God.
Goodness.
Yeah.
"Who's next?"
Oh.
They actually respected him after this.
Dude, that is totally the ending plot of Vinland Saga. He let himself get beat up and took it all, and he gained their respect. Oh my goodness, that is totally the plot of the ending of Vinland Saga.
Sergio served his new flock dutifully, and he helped a number of them turn their lives around and discover other vocations. For instance, because Mexican, Sergio formed a parish mariachi band, though one of the teenage musicians, Pinguino, wasn't allowed to play at mass because he reeked of weed.
Oh.
If only that was all he was taking, because one day Sergio's time in Veracruz took a very tragic turn when Pinguino overdosed. So Sergio bundled him into his car and rushed him to the hospital.
Oh, no.
On the way to the
I didn't hear
hospital,
the bell.
Pinguino...
I didn't hear no bell.
I'm guessing his friend's not gonna make it.
Yeah.
asked Sergio for the chance to confess, and he was rebuffed because only an ordained priest could hear confessions or read last rites. The boy asked, "Hear my confession, we're not going to make it." Sergio pointed out that he can't ask God for forgiveness, and Pinguino replied, "God will forgive you for hearing it." Sergio pulled over and obliged before Pinguino died in his arms. 3 days after the funeral, Sergio decided to take his vows and was ordained on the 26th of May, 1973. Father Sergio joined the Dominican order and made a point of helping addicts, before expanding his mission to helping all of those in poverty. He was also a member of the Piarists Order, which is an organisation dedicated to education, and he taught philosophy and history at Mexican Roman Catholic universities. I mean, it's Mexico Roman Catholic University is a little bit redundant. But anyway, eventually, Father Sergio settled into a position as a priest in the Diocese of Texcoco, where he did his most important work, clandestinely taking in orphans and letting them stay in the church. And
So he became an orphanage too. Oh yeah, that's the whole point, that the church becomes...
You have a 5-second memory, don't you?
Yeah. I was just so moved by the whole his friend dying in his arms and stuff and wanting to confess his sins to him. That's just so sweet. But then the movie...
I think it was.
Oh, with him dying in...
No. The about this guy. Yeah, I think
Since he
Jack
didn't
Black
quite
movie
know
we were
how to
talking
say
about.
I wanna
no,
watch that
he
later
soon
now.
had more orphans than he knew what to do with. Especially since they followed him wherever he was, no matter where he was transferred to. By 1976, Father Sergio had so many children under his wing that it was easier to just found a full-fledged orphanage in San Juan, Teotihuacán. I have no idea how to pronounce these words.
Teotihuacán.
Bulaka?
I'm very sorry. I'm not sorry. However, even with all of the will in the world, kids are expensive. And Father Sergio was struggling to feed them all. Father Sergio was in a bind. The church wasn't funding him enough, and he couldn't exactly find any wealthy patrons to get donations from, because rich people in Mexico tend to only really come from one particular industry. So
Yeah.
The drug cartels, right?
Yeah.
he needed to make the money all by himself. However, he would have to do so behind the church's back. He'd have to go incognito. They can't see him. Father Sergio's options were rather lacking. What could an ex-circus performer who grew up fighting possibly do? Well, in 19...
Oh, the theatrics of being a clown mixed with the fighting style.
Yeah.
That's how it come to be. It all works out.
1977, he was inspired by a film titled El Señor Tormenta, the plot of which is exactly what you would expect. And that got
Oh my god, it's Inception. He was inspired by a movie, and then a movie was inspired by him!
Sergio's noggin jogging when he said, I read the papers and I thought wrestlers earned just as much as Cassius Clay. I thought, I'll do it for a year, build a city for the children, and then bye-bye. It's perfect. Pro wrestling could provide both prize money and anonymity, since luchadors very famously wear masks.
Cool.
No one needed to know that it was him. So, Father Sergio met a luchador...
I just realized what is going to be the negative here.
What?
When you lose a fight...
Some matches, you lose your mask.
Yes, a mask match. And then he would be discovered.
willing to literally show him the ropes. This luchador was named the Lidra, and he trained at a gym in Mexico City every morning from 4 a.m. until Mass. A year later, he was ready.
Yeah.
It was time for the local circuit to receive some divine reckoning.
Woo!
Into the ring stepped the leader. And his opponent from Texcoco, Mexico, weighing in at 200 pounds, the Padre of Pain, Fray Tormenta. He lost.
Of course. I love how he did so good with that announcer voice. That sounded really good.
The student wasn't ready to become the master just yet, but what mattered was that Fray Tormenta was
Like a man
paid
once
for his
said.
debut. So,
It's God plan.
Steak, maybe.
Drake, maybe?
Yeah.
it was more than worth it, as his kids got to receive a solid 200 pesos.
Yay.
Yeah, he got basically nothing. But hey,
Eh.
every little helps, and at least he had the
Yeah.
tenacity to persevere through this wake-up call, saying, I became Fray Tormenta out of necessity. I had to support my kids. I thought that a wrestler made as much money as guys like Cassius Clay. So I decided I would become a luchador, and in 1 year I would make $1 million, and I would build the City of Children. But it was not like that. My first match paid me about 200 pesos, or $20. I said,
Ouch. I mean, hard work, it's never as easy as you planned. I hate that.
like, I always plan stuff in my mind. I try to think of every little perfect detail, but it never goes the way you plan it. Never.
Yeah.
Golly.
To myself, Jesus Christ, after so much training, $20. But I was hooked, and thanks to Lucha Libre, I accomplished many great things.
Yeah.
As Fray Tormenta stepped into the ring night after night for initially mercenary reasons, he came to develop a lifelong passion as he became popular with the crowds and began to see wrestling as more than just a way to make money. When he
So yeah, he found a passion within it. So he found God, and God gave him a way to...
Gave him a reason.
Gave him a reason for his life, yeah. Because not only... Okay, because he likes what he's doing it for a good cause. That is really beautiful.
said, I want people to see wrestling not as violent, but as beautiful, elegant, and artistic. I don't
Right.
think the people who watch me see me as sanguinary. I think they just see me as someone who is trying to fight the good fight. But as far as the crowd was concerned, who was this master?
Upon a head full of shit and any consequences. Yeah, gotta plan for consequences too.
Hero fighting the good fight? Well, in English, Fray Tormenta means Friar Storm. Clearly, a nod to the film that inspired the whole venture, but also because he couldn't help making his character a priest. After all, it was familiar territory. In addition
Right.
to the mask, Fray Tormenta wore a yellow leotard with red trunks and the letters FT and lightning bolts across his chest, with a gold cape for good measure. The symbolism of the colours wasn't particularly subtle. As Fray Tormenta explained, I designed my own mask and outfit. My mask colours are yellow and red. The yellow represents gold for divinity, and the red represents the blood that Fray Tormenta...
Okay, that's what I figured.
Funny thing is,
Funny thing, in a few minutes going to have to head out to prepare for Bible class. Aww, I'm not leaving right now. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, you have a good time in Bible class. Thank you. When you're ready.
is
push
willing
that
to
now.
shed for his kids. He also said that the yellow is for the liveliness Fray Tormenta must display in the ring. As for the rest of the gimmick, Fray Tormenta walked out investments, he prayed in the ring, and his finishing move was La Confessora, a figure four leg lock submission that made his
nice.
opponents beg for God's forgiveness. Naturally, he was a technical, or what we would
Confess your sins in the ring.
call a face. And he fought Rudos, or heels, with names like El Satanico, El Hijo del Diablo, and Judas.
Yeah.
Literally,
Nice. He's fighting all of Jesus's enemies.
is a lot less morally complex than the WWE. But the stakes are not diminished for it, because many matches are fought with the luchador's hair on the line,
Against.
with a
I did not say
barber
for,
brandishing
did I?
clippers standing at ringside, waiting for the loser. Or worse, the winner.
Oh yeah, the shave match. Hey, he just showed Donald Trump. I remember that.
may take the loser's mask. And if you're wrestling incognito to avoid the ire of the church, that's a pretty big deal.
There it
But
is.
of course, it was worth all of the risk, because Fray Tormenta put it all on the line night after night with zero miedo, taking God knows how much physical punishment to scrape together just enough for his kids to eat. In 1987, he had 86 children in his care, 14 of whom were girls, as well as 3 volunteer women to help him out.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh. Hello, Voo Hero, going to the play. Did you forget to change the thingy?
not on YouTube. Sorry, we got to some point we switched to reacts. I should have put and reacts in the title.
You didn't put N Reacts in the title. What the heck, man?
Anyway.
Now you made people angry.
Well, it wasn't an uplifting video.
Boogity boogity. Blame Trucker Man. He's the one who does the thingies.
You just don't learn how to do the thingies.
Yeah, well.
Anyway.
It's his fault. You missed the Monster Hunter portion of the show. We'll try more later. I need to learn to play Monster Hunter better, to be honest. That's fine. Well, love you too. I really need to take the time to actually play Monster Hunter a bit for myself, because at some point you will all get sick and tired of me trying to figure out how to push all the buttons. Yeah, Trucker Man, you gotta pay attention to these things. I don't blame him too much. He barely had much sleep.
Well, I had sleep today.
Yeah. But you'll be having to deal with the changing of schedules. And don't worry, at some point, we will post a legit schedule. We will have a legit schedule at some point. This month has just been very, very hectic.
Forgot how this shit.
I don't remember. I thought it was like the control stick. I don't know. You didn't take it.
I like how we went on a side tangent for like 20
Sorry. I care about my chat's comments, okay? Alright. I'm getting back to the show of Lucha Libre, pretty much.
The two boys were crammed into quarters that had an intended capacity of just 12, with one toilet between all of them. And no toilet paper and barely a shower because the hot water tank was only 4 gallons.
Well, I guess this would be an instance where the
Oh,
crusty
thank you,
bits
Blue
could-
Sky. The goal.
Blue Sky super chatted $5 for the goal.
For the goal.
Say Simone.
The value. Thank you. And I did have a lot of fun with you. Thank you for being my friend on the game. I will take the time to learn to play it on my own, I guess. Thank you so much.
What? The goal to say
That's
Simone.
hard time.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
I put that in there.
I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me.
And here comes all the band. But thank you for the 5. Those are hard times.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dusty.
Even worse
missed
was
the
the
joke.
fact that the
I
girls and the
know.
lady helpers used to be crammed in there with the tank was only 4 gallons. That's hard times. Even worse was the fact that the girls and the lady helpers used to be crammed in there with them.
Oh.
But the padre was eventually fortunate enough to afford to rent a couple of rooms across the road from the church. Clearly, he had to scrimp and save in any way that he could, even going as far as to put the money that promoters gave him for flights and hotels straight into the orphanage's coffers, and instead go to his matches by driving as long as 17 hours.
Oh,
But
wow.
it wasn't just the kids that Fray Tormenta was so unwaveringly committed to. He would even maintain kayfabe by answering the phone with, "You are speaking to Padre Fray Tormenta."
Oh, so he was basically doing what is it called?
Character.
No, not character. Come on, brain, work with me. What's that one website? Cameo. He was doing cameos before Cameo existed. That's it. That's what I wanted to say.
But hang on, why was he answering the phone like that? Because I thought the whole point of being a masked luchador was to fly under the radar. Well, the Padre was actually accidentally doxxed by his tag team partner, Hurricane Ramirez, after the latter met him at a wedding that he was officiating. As Ramirez recalled, "I remember speaking with Fray Tormenta on the phone because we were to wrestle as tag partners. He told me openly to come by his church after his wedding service." Well, I laughed and said, "Come on, really?" And he said to come by and find out. I did, and sure enough, he was telling the truth. I remember saying to Reverend Sergio, "But you're really a priest and you fight in the ring." Of course, word spread like wildfire, and soon enough, the secret was out. Fray Tormenta then received a call from his boss, Bishop Monsignor Torreblanca, who asked him, "Hey, is there a luchador out there posing and wrestling as a priest?" And Tormenta just owned it and said, "Yes, sir." And when the bishop asked if he knew him, Tormenta said, "Yes, it's me."
Oh, that's so... Because he's not gonna lie. Oh, his doody. Oh, someone got...
I got auto-modded.
Got auto-modded. Oh, someone liked my moons. Thank you. Hello, you're new. Zico X7. You got auto-modded. I don't know. We've met. Okay, cool. That's nice.
I'll let Tormenta explain how this panned out when he said, well, the bishop wasn't happy, to say the least. He told me to retire from Lucha Libre. I told him, all right, but every month I will pass by your place to pick up money for the kids. He looked at me in silence and then said, okay, keep wrestling. The bishop also warned Tormenta to be careful, but his position later relaxed when he said, at first I didn't approve, but since what he does helps the children, then I approve. Yay! If he were to change his priorities, say first came wrestling, then came the church, I would not approve.
Right.
But he is giving his life for those children.
Right.
It's a good thing that...
Oh, I love that. Like sometimes I wouldn't really, I guess maybe it's kind of breaking the rules, because I guess fighting is not something that a priest should be doing, but he's doing it for a good purpose, and he's not doing it.
When you showed this video to our friend.
Oh yeah, I think he would appreciate this. Someone who got it. Oh no, come on. And sometimes in life, you can find people who are not just so stuck in their ways, you know? When you realize that it's for the good of something else. God, I wish I could learn to talk. I have so many thoughts in my brain that I cannot articulate worth a butt.
Fray Tormenta's rule bending was tacitly endorsed because he bent the rules a lot, but he always knew where the line was and made sure to remind himself of that when he said, as long as I've been a priest, 42 years, I've worn a rubber band, because the laws of the church should be like a rubber band. But if you pull too much, it breaks.
Right.
Not that the care he took made it go down easier for the other priests, though, because not only was the wrestling a rather strange break with tradition, Fray Tormenta also sang mariachi songs after Mass, justifying it by saying, if Jesus Christ came down, he would sing just like me. He even released a CD titled Fray Tormenta Sings for Everyone with Mariachi.
Aww.
I mean,
Yeah. Music is something beautiful in your soul and stuff, as long as the lyrics are not sinful, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice. The bishop didn't want to get out money.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta take care of all those kids somehow. I mean, that's just common knowledge, right? Someone had to make money for them.
love the guy, but holy shit, he's such a fucking stereotype. the only way he could be more Mexican is if he wrestled fucking Frieza. Even though he had the bishop's permission, Fray Tormenta would have preferred to stay masked because, and I quote, no one would have taken me seriously as a wrestler had they known I was a priest. But this was only true to a point. No one really wanted to fight a man of the cloth, but it wasn't because Fray Tormenta wasn't taken seriously. It was because, and I quote, luchadors were afraid to fight me. Not because of my strength or skill, but they were afraid of the fans. The fans would shout out, "You can't fight a priest," and they would throw tomatoes, garbage, and even coins at him.
He got all the support of the people. He has all the fans. No one wants him to lose.
Aww. Yeah, that would have been more
Like
a Undertaker situation. Oh yeah, you're right.
him fighting the
People in the
Undertaker.
crowd would even yell things
Yeah.
like, "How can you treat a man of God like that? And kill him, Padre. I'll pay for the funeral." An opponent of Fray Tormenta's, named Black Terry, also recalled a woman screaming, "You're going to hell, Terry," during the match. And his tag partner also accepted that, "Yeah, I was pretty much condemned to hell also."
Oh.
Mexicans are somewhat religious. Despite
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a stereotype, but from what I've seen, they're very into Catholic or Jesus. I don't know.
The
words.
hardcore Catholics.
Yeah, thank you.
In Mexico.
Thank you. But I got nothing on that.
the fear of God, these guys were
love
all
the
professional,
Undertaker.
so they got over it well enough, with Ormuz the Viking god saying, "Sometimes it doesn't seem right. Sometimes I get upset. But then I remember that I am helping the children, and it feels good again." And Fray Tormenta had no such qualms either, seeing no contradiction between his religious vocation and his alter ego. Putting his theology degree to good use, Fray Tormenta explained, "Some say that our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, so we shouldn't open ourselves up to being beaten. But that's hot air. Didn't the original friars flagellate themselves? I don't use a barbed belt. I get into the ring."
Right.
To be completely fair, that is a very, very good point. And as they say, to suffer is holy. Besides, we all like crusaders. Fighting is based when you're on God's side, and luchadors are much more righteous than other wrestlers because they tend to be genuine, bona fide folk heroes, best exemplified by the legendary El Santo, who is basically Mexico's Superman and is definitely worth a video of his own
Mexico
someday.
Superman.
But despite his opponents getting heckled, Fray Tormenta's doxing actually worked out massively in his favour. As you could tell from the heckling, it made Fray Tormenta way more popular with the crowds than ever. And
So he had all the support of the people. Yeah, during the football game, referees told the Mexican people to stop saying certain cheers. Oh. He really was movies, comic, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that is like a real life true hero right there.
Yeah.
Just the sweetest story ever.
it allowed him to increase his mystique because his backstory sort of became multiple choice. You see, as the real details came out, they were rather heavily peppered with magical realism. For instance, instead of deciding to become a priest after being turned away from the confessional booth, Fray Tormenta allegedly responded to a sign from God after seeing a vision of himself in vestments giving a sermon.
Ow.
He heard voices in his head.
Yay!
Talked to him.
I hear voices in my head. They talk to me. They understand. They counsel me. I got your rules in your religion, not designed to keep you safe. But when rules start getting broken, you start questioning your faith. Randy Orton was cool. I remember hating him so much back in the day with the whole Triple H drama and him when he was a bad guy.
I don't know if he still is or not.
Nah, I'm not even sure if he wrestles anymore. I haven't
he
watched
does.
WWE in years.
Yeah.
Ever since The Undertaker retired, I was like, nope, don't care anymore. The Undertaker was my favorite.
Tormenta also claimed to have gotten special permission from the Vatican to wrestle, and that he was also visited by Pope John Paul II. As he recalled, "They invited us to a meal, And during that visit, he went around saying hello to everyone. When he came to me, I introduced myself. I am Father Sergio and also Fray Tormenta. He smiled and said he wished there were many Fray Tormentas in the world. I answered smiling, no sir, because then all the churches would cease to exist.
Oh, thank you. I mean, if you guys ever want me to do karaoke again, I wouldn't mind, even though it makes me all nervy. And also, we don't get monetized for it, obviously.
We have to
don't get money for it.
Get copyright claimed.
Yeah, let me know.
Placed his hand on me and gave me his blessing. Despite his fears, Fray Tormenta's identity getting out there only allowed him to openly raise awareness of his mission, and his fans were very eager to help. If they didn't just throw money straight into the ring, people in the crowd would shake his hand after matches and palm him cash.
That's perfect right there. Beautiful. But I wanted to say this since it was pointed out to me. Someone's asking when. Should we do a poll on our thingy when they would want me to do karaoke?
Sure, I'll put a post up when I get a chance.
Something cow. I mean, I probably should look up some more songs. I only have so many songs, and then you can only select the songs if you have a Twitch account.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, maybe suggest a song in comments. If I know it, I might do it. If I don't, I'll just say I don't know it and I'm sorry. Yeah.
One of the most popular wrestlers in Mexico, photographers would shoot his 5'7" frame from a low angle to make him look a lot bigger. Another way he was made larger than life was his appearances in comic books, as well as wrestling in international matches. Of course, it's no surprise that Fray Tormenta wrestled in 70 matches in the United States, but he also made 14 trips to Japan, where they absolutely fucking loved him. Over there, they go nuts for pretty much any character in a mask, and Fray Tormenta inspired characters in Tekken 3 as well.
Oh, really? Those characters were inspired by him, really? I thought they were just... Actually, I didn't even know the guy in Tekken with the leopard mask was a luchador, but I recognize the Pokemon one, yeah. It's not even the right color.
Probably
Slip that. I do know some Slipknot songs. I could look up Slipknot. I love a lot of music, so if you can tell me the band name and the title of the song, I'll look it up. I might know it.
What? Yeah.
Well, we're all going on a tangent of what you guys want me to sing. I'm sorry. But I had no idea that these characters were based off of him. I thought they were just generic luchadors. Or I didn't even know. I thought that one was just a furry. Let's be honest. I'm surprised by that. I love lots of music. I love, almost all genres. My bottom tier genres of music would be rap and country. I don't really care for too much. But I can find songs in those genres that I do like.
Is Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, because they saw him as the reincarnation of a similarly themed manga wrestler named Tiger Mask, who bookers at New Japan Pro Wrestling actually licensed and started putting in the ring. The homages didn't stop there, because you'll all surely know about 2006's Nacho Libre that starred a still funny Jack Black. Fray Tormenta was consulted on it, but as far as I could tell, sources couldn't exactly agree on whether any sort of deal was struck or any remuneration was given.
Well, to be honest, it's not about my horizons. I just love music. I just love all kinds of music. If it sounds good to me, I like it regardless of, I love Japanese or any kind of... I like almost all anime openings. Anime openings are my... I love listening to them. I can't speak Japanese worth a butt, but I can pretend, I guess, and just make weird noises that try to mimic.
The man himself. And funnily enough, even though Bishop Torreblanca gave the real Fray Tormenta the thumbs up, Nacho Libre was deemed morally offensive by the US Conference of Catholic Bishops, because what the fuck isn't offensive to them.
Right.
However, I don't think that Fray Tormenta would
missed
have
that
been
part.
too bothered about what they thought. When he said,
My brain. I miss
Oh,
funny
so-
Jack Black. Yeah, new Jack Black's been pretty lame. He's been getting too political, I think, and it's hurting him.
That and the movies he's been starring in may kind of suck lately.
Oh yeah, like the late. Well, okay. I think the last good Jack Black movie I'd have to say would be the Mario movie. He was awesome as Bowser.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I liked him as Bowser, and I do still like all the Kung Fu Panda movies. But the latest Kung Fu Panda movie was kind of lacking, for a better word.
Yeah, you're right. Like your boy Joe.
forces couldn't exactly agree on whether any sort of deal was struck or any remuneration was given to the man himself. And funnily enough, even though Bishop Torreblanca gave the real Fray Tormenta the thumbs up, Nacho Libre was deemed morally offensive by the US Conference of Catholic Bishops, because what the fuck isn't offensive to them?
Yeah.
However, I don't think that
That's true. I do. I mean, I have nothing against religion and stuff, but I do think Catholics are way too strict. But on the bright side, at least our friend hasn't completely abandoned us or anything. Unlike our non-religious liberal friend decides to abandon us because of how our beliefs and stuff. But our overly religious Catholic friend still is our friend despite our differences and our, I guess, blasphemous kind of vibes.
I mean, he plays about your V2 mom.
He complains about my V2. He says I should put a shawl on. I need to cover my tits.
Fray Tormenta would have been
way
too
too
bothered
far.
about what they thought. When he said, "When I die, God is going to tell me, as a priest, I don't think you behaved very well. But because you had so many children that you raised, I'll give you a chance. You can pass through." Of course, I hope that it doesn't happen anytime soon, but you know that Fray Tormenta's
alive?
canonization is going to go so
I'm guessing he's retired. Did he ever fund that orphanage? Is he still a priest?
Yeah, I think he's still a priest. We'll get to the end of the video.
Okay, here, final touch at the end of it all. You might look nice, stylish, but
hard one day. Do you think they're going to put the mask in the reliquary with his skull? But anyway, in the wrestling world, when Sami Zayn retired his El Generico gimmick in 2013, he returned home to Mexico to run an orphanage before somehow coming back as even more of a Redditor. Back home, however, other luchadors paid tribute to Fray Tormenta in person, coming to him for blessings and confession, which must have been quite a thing to see. "Let me tell you something, brother. I don't even know how long it's been since my last confession, but there's no way that you can pull that off on me. And you know that I've committed a whole heap of sins. Fray, because I know I'm the best. Greed, because I will stop at nothing to get that best. And most of all, wrath, because of what I'm going to do to you this Sunday night at WrestleMania."
That was
Fray
perfect.
Tormenta provided his fellow luchadors with a
Amazing.
That was...
His thing should be anytime he defeats an opponent, they should be forced, well, not forced, but they should confess their sins to him once they're defeated.
lot of support and guidance, cutting a bit of an Undertaker-esque figure in the locker room. Ironically. He also baptised their kids, spoke at their funerals, officiated their weddings, blessed their houses, and even prayed for them as they entered the ring. In true heel fashion, his opponents were all the nicest guys, and some actually returned the favours that Fray Tormenta did for them, with one donating a couple of bags of rice, and another giving him an exhibition match at the actual orphanage so that the kids could see their adoptive dad wrestle. I bet
so
they would have
sweet.
gotten a real kick out of seeing him hit sweet hymn music. That was fucking terrible, I'm sorry. Despite the acclaim and
He should have entered the ring with a confession booth. Like I said, yeah.
Money coming his way, Fray Tormenta never lost sight of his true purpose, saying, I wasn't after glory, I was after money for the kids. Although,
Yeah.
when people make you a star, you can't help but be affected. Even a priest likes to be adored. And adored he
Yeah.
was, because even his own parishioners started calling him Padre Tormenta or El Fray. After 23 years of hustle, loyalty, and respect, back when it fucking meant
Oh
something,
yeah, they had the Undertaker had coffin matches, so confession
Ernest.
matches. Oh, dude, especially the way he's frowning. He does look like
I want to.
Ernest.
That looks like Ernest.
Oh, what you doing?
There.
What'd you do?
I showing them behind your video.
Oh, my head. My head's in the way. Yeah, John Cena looks like Ernest.
Apparently he's a heel now.
Oh, he's an asshole now?
Yeah.
Well, it's bound to happen. Because we're treated like rock stars, but in the day, that's why they put in the cerebrals.
Yeah.
4,000 matches, a broken nose, 3 cracked ribs, dislocated arms, and multiple broken fingers, Fray Tormenta semi-retired in the year 2000 and made the odd appearance here and there until he hung up the mask for good in 2011. Sort of, because he still wore it to church every so often for images that go extremely hard. And he incorporated stories of his wrestling experience into his sermons. Each day's reading of Austin 3:16 was heightened by the showmanship that he learned in the ring, which must have been just as surreal for his congregation as watching Linda McMahon's confirmation hearing and seeing a certain someone getting dangerously close to playing the game.
Ooh.
Except if...
So was he ever in, I guess it would be like a WCF or something?
No, he always stayed in Mexico. He might have came up for exhibition matches every now and then, but...
I would feel like they would have him come, because how popular he is. I mean, they said he went to Japan for crying out loud. Yeah.
Fray Tormenta did it, he would have probably spat out wine. But while Fray Tormenta is long retired, age has taken a toll over the years, especially after spending so long flying around a ring and getting beaten up. Medical bills stacked as he started losing his sight, and he developed a laundry list of other health problems. Severe COVID almost got him, but he survived.
Oh.
Sadly, money is as tight now as it's ever been, and a still impoverished Fray Tormenta now runs a car wash in Texcoco to make ends meet. Though a woman discovered his story on TikTok, was reminded of her grandfather, and made a GoFundMe that received over 100 donations, which goes a very, very long way in Mexico's economy. Fray Tormenta more than deserved something for himself for a change. After decades of blood, sweat, broken bones, and sheer dedication, the career of Fray Tormenta raised a grand total of 1.5 million pesos. £57,000. He didn't see a penny, though he did keep plenty of other mementos. True to his word, all of the money went to La Casa Hogar de los Cachorros de Fray Tormenta, or the home of Fray Tormenta's cubs. It was...
All those kids must be grown up by now. Yeah, I hope they all became really good people.
never quite the city that he wanted, because it was always cramped and the kids couldn't even afford Christmas presents or even new clothes. The kids, who were lucky enough to have shoes, simply sliced them open and let their toes dangle out of them when they outgrew them. At its biggest, up to 270 children lived at the orphanage at a time until Fray Tormenta downsized to a place in Hidalgo, which housed about 60 of them, and was built with the proceeds of selling the rights to his story to the makers of 1991's The Man in the Golden Mask. It was then destroyed in an accidental fire because young boys are pyromaniacs, which required...
What? So just randomly destroyed the film. Did he make anything from Nacho Libre, maybe? I don't know. Tune of Man is such a thing there were.
move to Texcoco.
God, yeah.
All in, Fray Tormenta took in around 2,500 children over the years and kept them all housed, educated, and fed. He couldn't afford chicken, but refried beans, tortillas, and powdered milk still kept their bellies filled three times a day.
Yeah.
The orphan...
It's still better. It's still better. Unlike animals, when people hoard animals, for example.
But he was doing his best to give these kids a life they probably wouldn't have.
Living out on the street wouldn't have been any better. So even though they were all cramped and stuff, just the fact that they had any kind of shelter, any kind of food.
Yeah.
Age was never much, but it was home. And it was a loving one. Everyone there had very little, but they were all fairly content and happy because Fray Tormenta was their dad. And it's no wonder because of the sheer unwavering commitment that Fray Tormenta had for them. And while his mission to help them brought him much acclaim and many opportunities, he hand-waved away all of them in favour of the ones that were so important to his kids and his flock, saying, "Fame is like foam. It goes down just as it goes up, so the best thing that a public figure can do is be humble and simple with people, because fame is fleeting. We all need to be humble, and more than anything, as I said, people should be able to know that even though that you've achieved great fame all over the world, you should still keep your feet grounded, because fame is not endless, whereas friendships are timeless."
Just like
and do you know what else is timeless? Family. Like their adoptive father, many of his children became successful in their own ways as
Oh, good. We're going to learn what the kids did with their lives.
Like, I doubt we'll ever get that popular or anything, but yeah, popularity is definitely fleeting.
Better than nothing. Probably would have died on the streets and become
and yeah, like his life growing up, exactly like his life growing up, would have gotten into drugs and stuff, would have became a thief. So yeah, he saved them from that lifestyle.
Tormenta explained, "I have so much to be thankful for. 3 doctors, 16 teachers, 1 public accountant, 1 private accountant, 1 priest, 20 computer technicians, 5 lawyers and 5 practicing law have all come out of the orphanage."
Oh.
It's a shame to hear that 10 of his kids converted, but at least they all turned out better than Dirty Dom. You won't be surprised to hear that Fray Tormenta also taught a bunch of his kids to wrestle in an old ring. And one such pupil, named Crispin Bautista Alvalle, wrestles as Fray Tormenta Jr. He also lives with and looks after Fray Tormenta Sr. in his retirement. On this arrangement, Tormenta Jr. nobly declared, "More than anything, the father wants the good name of Fray Tormenta to have someone who will really take care of it and won't misuse it. He gave his entire life to support young people. We are going to return what he gave us." I'm sure that he's done his dad proud because Fray Tormenta Sr. actually cheers on Junior at his matches, and clearly Fray Tormenta's kids are just as proud of him as he is of them. As Fray Tormenta Jr. bragged, there are many kids that, when they are little, they say, "My dad is a policeman," and they feel like heroes themselves, or "My dad is a firefighter."
Right.
And we would say, "Well, my dad is Fray Tormenta, so be careful if you mess with me." So we would gain instant respect. To us, he is our...
And then no one wants to... I mean, I'm sure there'll still be asshole kids that would still badmouth him just because, but realistically, people would never want to badmouth someone this wonderful.
real father. We have always said that a father is not the one who creates you, but the one who gets you through life. Fray Tormenta is a truly special and amazing person who gave his mind and his body and his entire fucking life to help raise orphaned children and give them a happy life. And I don't give a fuck what angry priests or critics of his might say. You don't get more Christ-like than that.
Yes, exactly. That would be something Jesus would have done. That would be exactly what he would have done. Oh, That was so heartwarming. Thank you for joining us for this one. Bye.